is that all just gonna like fizzle apart because he just decided that he was gonna snip something? So I go in and I'm terrified, just absolutely terrified. I said, okay, I need you to show me, what yarn did you cut? Tell me, please. I tried to be very calm. Like my brain just jumping to conclusions. Hi guys, it's Emily. It's been a while. Welcome back to my podcast, A Rambling Yarn. Things are a little bit different around here. And I'm going to tell you what a journey it's been. Over the summer, my little family and I moved from Cape Elizabeth, Maine, back to our home state of Connecticut. And it's been a little bit crazy. We've been setting up, getting cozy, and all of that. So yeah, a lot's happened, a lot has changed. And there, things have been on hiatus as far as projects go because we've had other things that needed to be put together first. But I do have a few things that I wanted to show you today in my inaugural episode in our new house. This is not a new finished object whatsoever. I made this a couple of years ago for my husband, but today I am wearing my Sanguine Sweater, which is a pattern designed by Morgan of More Thunder, who I believe just had another baby, and they moved to Australia. Like, that's a little bit of a larger life change than what we just went through. And good for them. That's amazing. That's really cool. This is a colorwork design with a circular yoke. It was really fun. Honestly, it was really fun to knit. And I enjoyed it a lot. I made this one with just worsted weight acrylic yarn that I got probably at Hobby Lobby, I think, back in the day. So it was very, very fast, very satisfying. Very, I would say, beginner friendly for anyone who wants to dip their toes into color work but is not really sure what to do. Go for it. This was good. I will probably be taking this off at some point in the near future because I am starting to get a little bit toasty, regardless of the fact that it is finally, after a week-long heat wave, gone back down to the low 60s. I'm well insulated at the moment. All right, the first finished object. I feel like it's been a very long time since I've actually had one of these, so we're going to jump right on in. I'm not going to get nitpicky with the fact that only half of my ends are sewn in because they're off the needles, and honestly, that's the biggest step. That's what counts. They are awaiting the last couple of ends to be sewn in and then maybe a blocking. I don't typically block socks. I'll give them a good wash a couple times a year, but blocking, unless it's like lace. Yeah. So these are the broken rope socks. I need to sew in this hole. Don't mind that one. Let's look at this one. These are the broken rope socks. They're part of a sock set put out by Summerlee Knits or Summerlee Co., who is a fantastic designer of all things socks. All of her designs are very aesthetically pleasing. They're so adorable. Her color combinations and her stitch patterns are just, they're so good. I did this one. Let's see. I did a German short row heel, which is not my typical. I am usually a heel flap and gusset kind of gal, but every once in a while I want to shake it up a little bit and see if what I didn't like before, maybe something's clicked after some time apart, and see if I liked it better this time. The jury is still out because, I haven't like fully worn these yet. So I'm not 100% sure. I do like the way they look, but I'm not sure yet. I used Patons Kroy. I believe this and a size 2 circular needle. US size 2. This purple color here, I believe, is Celestial Skies, and then the kind of gray taupe color is it's either flax or linen. I feel like it might be called linen because I always call it the one that it is not, and I want to call it flax. It's flax or linen, but both of these are Patons Kroy. I think the purple one is their FX line, whatever that really means. They were lovely, and I love them, and it's taken me a very long time to get through them, not for any other reason other than at one point I had them in my car, and they were like my pickup line socks, so while I was sitting and waiting for my oldest to get out of school, I would sit there and that would be my time to work on these socks. So that was just like a daily, I would sit there for maybe like half an hour and just do a little tiny bit at a time. And then of course we moved, or well, he stopped school, it ended summer, wasn't sitting in the car doing pickup line, and we moved. So things got crazy. But now they are done. I'm very, very ready to put these on my feet because my feet are now cold in the mornings. And I am usually a barefoot kind of person. That's too much. If you're joining me for the first time, this is a podcast that is rather aptly named. I am a rambler. I am a spinner of yarn. Well, not like literally, but figuratively. When I tell a story and I talk about something, I do often end up on accidental tangents. My apologies. There may be some really bad puns in there. I don't apologize for that. My stories can go on. Please join me. I apologize, but that's what you're in for. On this podcast, I did not, make this clear, I guess, in the introduction, but if you are familiar with knitting podcasts, then you are basically going to be familiar with what I will be showing on any episode that you have here. I will show things that I have made or am in the process of making with yarn. I do so on occasion, but not terribly often because that is really hard for me to get into and put down and then come back to in a very timely fashion. I dip my fingers into crochet every now and again, but not as often as I would like. And I always have that itch to do it. I do cross stitch. I have one project that I'm still working on. Again, that's also been put down. Things that end up with really tiny sharp needles don't get worked on terribly often for reasons that you probably can assume with small children running around my house. I am a mother. I have 3 kids. I love them all. They're insane. I would have it no other way. And that is why a lot of my things don't get finished as fast as I would like because I have other obligations that are living and breathing. I also paint sometimes, not very well, only for my enjoyment. I suppose I could say that for a lot of the things that I do. It's not professional level whatsoever. I do it for my own enjoyment, which is what a hobby, I guess is it a hobby? Is it a hobby if it's never? Okay, I am too hot now. So, we're gonna, gosh, so hot. I don't typically knit with acrylic, and so I tend to forget just how toasty and sweaty somebody can get while wearing something made out of acrylic yarn. My goodness. Anyways, yep, it's a broken ribbed stitch, more or less, hence the name Broken Rope Socks. I have a couple of sock sets somewhere up there that I've been eyeballing, and I'm gonna see if maybe there's another pattern in that one particular set from Summerly Knits that might go well with a sock set. I don't know. If anybody has suggestions, because I've got some of these sets, they've got just the most beautiful variegated yarn. And I don't really know what else to do other than a pretty simple ribbed or vanilla sock with variegated yarn, because I'm afraid that if I do something that has a pattern, the pattern will get lost in the colors, or it'll just be too much of two things. And I'm just not sure about that. So if you have a favorite sock pattern that you love, is like a go-to for your really fun, like your one skeins of variegated yarn, give me like a sock emoji, give me the name in the comments, like give me your suggestion. I'm trying to get back on the sock bandwagon here. I've missed them. If you are curious about my new setup here and the transition, what it takes to move one crafting room in one state and bring it to another one and set everything back up, you can go back and watch my latest podcast episode. It is a transitional video. It's kind of like, if you enjoy like clean, organized with me sort of things, it's set up somewhat like that, a little time lapse, jaunty music, and you can kind of see what goes into tearing something down and packing things away and having to put them back up again, and find a whole new flow for things. That is there if you're interested. I'm still trying to figure out the lighting situation. In the house that we have moved into, there really aren't any ceiling lights. There's no lights up above, so trying to figure out the best combination of standing lights around and filming. It's been interesting. Okay, my next project, this again, it has been like a long languishing project. It's been one that's been on my needles. Actually, I need to look up the date that I started this, because it's been on my needles for at least over a year. But it's not done yet, but I have just started the very last section. This is let me make sure that I have it the right way. This is the Birds of a Feather shawl by Andrea Mowry, also known as Dre Renee Knits. It is she's a beast. It's giant. I'm almost done with this, and it will be just in time. I probably can get this done by my birthday. I am using a single ply here, dyed, let's see, it's a speckled variegated colorway dyed by Fiber for the People in the colorway Pear. Is that a little bit better? Maybe. Is it? Is it better? Is it better? Is it? Ah! I hate lighting so much. Maybe. Everything looks so orange right now. What does that mean? Okay, so this is I want to say this is mohair, or this is not mohair. I am working with mohair, which is this. And this is her Yucca colorway. And that is also dyed by Taylor Earl of Fiber for the People. And this has been long going. In a good way, I would say. This pattern has, so it's got the alternating sections of the mohair and the single ply, which has been really cool. I have not loved working with the mohair in general, but I think it's just because I think it's the gauge of it. I think it's just working with really thin yarn on bigger sized needles, which I'm using a 4mm, a US 6 for this. And I want to say that that's what it is, because I've worked with mohair in the past, so typically I am holding it double with another yarn. That I have no problem with. I think it's just the very fine lace weight yarn that's really fuzzy. I don't know. But the mohair sections have not been my favorite, just simply of pure personal enjoyment. But I have really been enjoying working with the single ply. It's just so squishy. And these, see, it's so orange. It's just orange. Is it really that orange? I think this is maybe it's a little bit better. We'll see. Okay. I was very excited. I was very excited when I started this last section here. And I was actually planning on filming this yesterday. And then as I was getting set up, in here, trying to figure out where everything was going to go and all of that fun stuff. And my husband's in here. Actually, it was really just a whole family affair. All my kids are in here. And my middle child says, I would like to try cutting something with these bendy scissors. I was like, no, please don't cut anything, okay? Please just don't, we move things, we get things set up. And then I have to run upstairs to grab something, right? Run upstairs to grab something. And then he goes, Mommy, I cut your yarn. You what? Say that again? Pardon me? So I rushed back in, thinking, oh my gosh, which yarn did he cut? Did he basically do a botched steek job on something, and is something that I have now poured countless of hours and time into and emotional energy? Is that all just gonna fizzle apart because he just decided that he was gonna snip something? So I go in and I'm terrified, just absolutely terrified. I said, okay, I need you to show me, what yarn did you cut? Tell me, please. I tried to be very calm. He cut part of my shawl. Thankfully, it wasn't as bad. My brain just jumping to conclusions. But I wasn't terribly happy because he cut the tail. He cut the tail, so this is the starting point. Started down here, worked up. But he cut the tail. And I have the rest. And now I need to figure out what... It's superwash, so I can't just, like, spit splice it together. But there's not enough to weave in anywhere. And I am already one of those people who's very paranoid and will neurotically leave more than anybody really needs. Like, I will cut very long tails to make sure that is woven in and going absolutely nowhere. I had a bad experience once with not doing that. So this is why. The rest of my day, evening, yeah. There was a lot of deep breathing. I was not happy. I'm still not happy. I've calmed down a little bit, but couldn't you cut your hair or something instead? Anyways, so probably, man, I'm hoping I can take some like decent finished object photos. This thing is huge. Because I like this a lot. Why is it so? It's just so much. I'm very excited. The drama! No! And then, because of course, I can't knit a sweater without something happening that is just not my favorite. I started knitting the Ranunculus sweater. I've never knit this pattern before. I have seen, the millions of people out there knit this sweater because this pattern it's so popular. This is such a popular pattern. And it's been out there for how many years? Like, when was this published? I don't know, but it's been going for quite a while. Okay. Battery overheated. So let's try this again. I am jumping on the boat. The Missed the Boat knit along. That is being put on by the Black Sheep Knitter, Sarah. So here's my Ranunculus. This is a pattern that's been around for a really long time. At least it feels like it's been around for a really long time. And like everybody and their mothers, cousins, uncles, aunts, roommates, girlfriends.
I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
What's that make us?
Absolutely nothing.
Have knit them, and I have not, simply because I don't know, I would look at the pattern and be like, oh, that's nice, but there was never like a, eh. However, I mean, the fact that I think that this is one of the biggest drawing factors for a lot of people is you can knit this in multiple weights with like the same amount of yarn. It's one of those like weird magical patterns where it does not take a lot of yarn, and you can use anything from like lace weight to worsted. I'm pretty sure that's what the pattern says. It calls for anything from there to there and in between. It's like a choose your own adventure. So I decided to choose my adventure with a worsted version. And I can't, guys, I don't know what the Ranunculus is for me. So on the hanger, I feel like it looks really cute. I decided to make, so full disclosure, my gauge, unsurprisingly for me, was small. I am a very tight knitter. So I did go up a couple needle sizes. I think I'm using a US 10.5, and I just, for whatever reason, couldn't bring myself to go to an 11. I don't know why. I just couldn't. I didn't mind the fabric that I was getting with this. And it just felt like an 11 was just too big. And so instead of sizing up my needles, I went up a size and decided to do the size 3 in the pattern, which technically is supposed to give me, I think, like 10 inches of positive ease. And I figured that between that amount of positive ease and the fact that my gauge was small, they would kind of even out. And I guess to an extent they did. Okay. But here are some of the things that I had problems with. So for the size 3, they wanted me to go, once I split under here, they really only wanted me to knit 4 inches in stockinette before starting the ribbing, which seems a little odd to me because, as you can tell, this is a lot more than 4 inches. 4 inches puts me actually more like right around here, which I actually went down. I decreased like 4 stitches about here, which is more or less where my bust ends. So I decreased from, basically the bust is a size 3, and then the rest of it is a size 2 in stitch count. But yeah, where I decreased would have been 4 inches. And then, so basically it would have been like this. And then they wanted you to start the ribbing. Now the ribbing here, they called for, I think it was like 3 3/3 of rib down here. This is just under 3 inches. And I feel like if I went the whole way, it would just be too much. Like that's like another, like down to here. And that just seemed like, it just seemed like a lot. So I don't know, I'm a little confused, and maybe it will look better. And of course but it's also cropped. It's cropped, which I don't hate, but does it look too balloony? I don't know. I feel like it could be cute with maybe like a skirt or over a dress. Maybe not. Maybe with high-waisted pants. These are not high-waisted pants. I have a micro torso, as I have started calling it, where basically between the top of my hips and the bottom of my ribs is about that much. It's very, very short. So there's not much of a torso there, and that causes me problems with how a lot of sweaters fit. So I'm trying to figure out what. But does that mean that I needed to really keep knitting the body longer? And then also with the bottom ribbing, like most sweaters, they call the pattern calls for you to go down a couple of needle sizes. So I did accordingly, like to the needle size that I ended up using. Maybe I shouldn't have. I'm wondering if maybe I should have just stuck with the 10.5. I mean, if I'm honest, should I have actually gone up? But I like the fabric though. I just feel like maybe that's my problem though. Maybe I need to take this out. Maybe I need to take the ribbing out and do it again with a larger needle size so that it doesn't scooch it in. I think because that's what's giving me this balloon back here. And if it didn't do that, I think that it would just lay, and this is not blocked whatsoever. And I am kicking myself just a little bit because I have learned in the past. Why I didn't do this, I don't know. But I have learned in the past that if you're making a sweater, once you get to the point where you are about to divide the sleeves, before putting your stitches on scrap yarn, block your yoke. Block it. It just will I can't tell you how it helps, but it helps. It blooms, it grows, it stretches, it lays so much better, and you just kind of have a better fit going from there and a better idea of what's going on. Of course, I didn't do that this time because why would I listen to my own advice? Even though I know this will help you in the long run. Didn't do that. And so none of it has been blocked, and I do wonder if maybe after blocking. But I'm guessing as I'm looking at it now on the screen, I do not hate where it lands. I think it's kind of cute. I'm starting to get more into cropped garments. I don't hate them like I used to. So I think that if I go back, if I take this part out, I go back to my original needle size so that it lays instead of cinches. And then I go in and I do my sleeves. I'm planning on doing long sleeves on this. That's what I've decided. Also, it did not occur to me that because it's an untreated wool, when I was adding a new ball in, I could spit splice. I hate the term spit splice. I do not actually use spit. That kind of grosses me out a little bit. I'll just instead get my hands wet with a little bit of water, or if I have a spray bottle in hand, like, there we go. This was enjoyable to knit. And I will say, even with kind of the sizing confusion that I have, which is not the pattern's fault, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me and my weird gauge and my weird little torso. That being said, it hasn't stopped me from being like, oh, hey, I've got this cone. Got this cone of yarn that's like lace, like heavy lace weight yarn. This would probably look really beautiful as a ranunculus. I haven't even finished this one yet. I get the hype as far as like the enjoyableness. This kind of lace motif, like these little crossover stitches, they were delightful. They were very fun. Little eyelets. And this wasn't mindless, but it was simple. And the repeats were easy, which is great. Now that I see myself, that'll be the plan. And we'll go from there. And then blocking, because that's magic. If I could go back in time and tell myself one thing as I started getting more serious about knitting as an adult, it would be blocking is as important as these people are saying. It's not crazy. And it is, I would say it's very necessary for garments, at least for large garments, for anything that needs to have a better shape. Just start out. If you are new to knitting, start by blocking. Start off blocking your knits. Just get in the habit. It takes a little bit of extra time, but it's just another step. But it's kind of cool though. It's part of the experience and it's part of being thorough. And your future self will thank you. Block your knits. Hey friends, future Emily, editing my stuff here. My camera battery died. It just was not having it, and people got home from school. I needed to cook dinner. Life went on, so we just had to say that's all she wrote for today. If you liked what you saw, if you enjoyed hanging out with me, got some work done, or got to like relax for a little bit, please like comment, tell me what you did while we hung out for a little bit. Give the video a little bit of a like, a good thumbs up there. Subscribe, consider subscribing maybe. My channel is still really small, kind of trying to grow it at this point. I think that would be a goal that I would like to do. And you subscribing and liking, obviously that is a huge part of all of this. So if you would like to, if you are able to, it costs you nothing. But if you like what you saw or you just enjoy hanging out with me, please consider doing that. That would be awesome. And I enjoy having you along with me as well. By the time this goes out, I think everyone's probably going to be getting ready for Thanksgiving. So if you are celebrating, happy Thanksgiving, or getting ready, happy fall as we move into winter. And I look forward to seeing you next time and showing you what has become of my ranunculus. Thanks for staying with me. See you later, guys.